Alright, it seems to be recording this time. Hopefully the sound will be recorded. So I'm going to play a video with no sound on it. I guess to redo these comments because I deleted some of these comments, so I can't, have to redo them the hard way. I should have checked the settings on this thing. Frame rate looks a little crappy, but whatever. Anyway. Yeah, just really irritating. I lost I had to reboot. Every time I boot, I have to remember to frickin' turn the microphone on. It's just so stupid. The defaults are broken. Anyway, William Muller. I was trying to learn here. Well, you just said at 4:35 or so that dielectric was just pure gibberish. I'm saying calling empty space a dielectric is gibberish. Empty space doesn't have the properties of a dielectric. I know what a dielectric is, you dumb fuck. And I pointed out in every Ken Wheeler video, there must be 30 of them where I've pointed out that a dielectric is a form of insulator that can hold charge, and there is no such thing as dielectricity. He keeps saying there's such a thing as a dielectricity. Like there's some two kinds of electricity and dielectricity. There's no such fucking thing. So I've been over it and over it, you fucking bastard. So anyway, I have to move forward here, I guess. Get to the next basic crap. Come on. Oops, don't move too far. Alright, yeah, no, I can't read all of his comment there, so I have to go here. Alright, so Michael Falwell. Hi, Gary. A few weeks ago I was chatting with a fellow about this very subject. He wanted to know why an observation... Oh, now I have to put this above that. Oh, this is not going to work. Well, anyway, we'll try to make it work. He wanted to know why an observation collapsed when collapsed the wave function. Right, there's no wave function. I basically stated that before we get into the whole debate on what causes the collapse of the wave function, first we should maybe consider the notion that whether or not this phenomenon has actually been proven to actually happen in reality. Yes, there's no frickin' evidence that any photon plus photon equals no photon. It's just gibberish. I request any links to any tidbit of tangible proof that could be considered evidence in support of the claims made. He's shared this very video to me, right? So it really is disgusting. It's veiled as if it's happening at some scientific institution that has some sort of respectability, and it's obvious just a bunch of made-up crap. After pointing out the very obvious false claims in the video and the complete lack of real-world evidence offered up, I simply suggest to him that if he believes in the claims they make, then rather than go on faith alone, that he would be better to witness the proof of it being the truth, and suggested to him that he research the claims supporting the evidence, maybe of interest to him. Well, that seems like a big way to say, well, why don't you go find some real evidence, asshole? 2 weeks later, he got back to me very thankful and changed man, a religious convert, and simply opened his eyes to a whole new outlook. Well, I don't know if it's any better, but we'll see. It's like people are brainwashed and caught in a perpetual loop of fantasy. No, it's like people are just assholes, frankly. This isn't that complicated. Oh, actually produce evidence? Oh, you mean I have to have evidence for my claims? And magical notions. Some need a gentle kick in the ass to get them back to reality. Well, frankly, I don't see any of this back to reality stuff. It's never started in reality. But anyway, so then this asshole posted some stupid whatever that crap is, some fucking, I don't know what people do with this number sign fake physics for you. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean, but it certainly doesn't work when you post it as a YouTube link, that's for damn sure. Alright, jumping ahead. Oh, come on. I need the image, please. Come on. Fuck. Thank you. Alright, whatever this is, Piro Sierra. I remember seeing this on television, was broadcast live at the time. I thought this guy is not really explaining anything beyond a lot of pointless guesswork. Well, the point is, it's happening at the Royal Institute, a place where smart people would gather to do smart things, and now they've just turned it into a clown, place where Barney the dinosaur goes. To the BBC, the original broadcaster, physics is just another entertainment topic to be spoon-fed in manageable chunks and jokes and crappy analogies about particles like sand or whatever. To be fair to them, no, there's no being. The only fair remark is that this is a rape of science. These are science rapists. To be fair to them, this series of lectures is supposed to be family entertainment. Well, any scientist who's doing entertainment is in the wrong business, so that's just bullshit. It's supposed to be educating people, and clearly it's misinformation, so it's just propaganda. So it's a lot more insidious than entertainment. That's just a lie. This is propaganda, so it is pitched quite low. But that's not an excuse. Well, you just made it like it was an excuse for this, for its inaccuracies and reliance on lazy analogies. And you are absolutely right to call them out. So again, there's no point in saying it's an excuse and then letting it be an excuse and then say it's not an excuse. I mean, fuck that shit. But anyway, I'll be back. Alright, I should be back. Probably. Yeah, there. Yeah. Almost. So anyway, in earlier experiments, Ken's used a CRT TV monitor with black and white test pattern consisting of a circle with a radial lines coming from the center with a large magnet. Yeah, again, this is just, these arguments are just so stupid. I have to explain every single time that CRT TV doesn't produce some kind of image that just shows up. It doesn't just plop an image on the screen. It's a trace. The trace jumps from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. Jumps and traces the image. Alright, there's not one image sent. There's an electron beam that traces across the screen. So obviously when you put one magnet on, you're repelling the trace. Okay, and the other magnet is pushing the trace the opposite direction. So it's how it affects the trace. It's not affecting any image. The image isn't made as a solid image. The image is made by traces on a fluorescent screen. Oy. So all of this is just irrelevant. The point was to illustrate the centrifugal vortices of the magnetic fields. Yeah, there's no such things, okay? Again, you want to sit there and use people who try to manipulate evidence to make it look like something, okay? Like the ferrocell. I've explained how it works. Ken Wheeler knows how it works, okay? He's taken them apart. He knows that each LED creates a little arc of light. Each single LED does it. Alright, and it's just refraction of that single LED's light that you're seeing in different arrangements. And that's all there is. There's no magic to it. It's not showing you a magnetic field. It's showing you an LED field. I mean, it's just a fraud. And you want to pretend that it's showing you something real. It's not showing something real. And putting a magnet on a TV screen isn't showing you something real. Because it's not manipulating an image on the screen. It's manipulating a tracing electron beam. Fuck. Overlook his abrasive personality and repetitiveness, and perhaps you'll glean some understanding. There's nothing to understand. He has no theoretical grounding. It's all made-up gibberish. You can't call empty space a dielectric. You can't just say light's like a coaxial cable. It's irrational mush. It doesn't mean anything. I don't know how it can mean anything to you, you fucking idiot. You are simply using accepted pseudo-scientific rhetoric. No, he's using made-up rhetoric, just completely nonsensical crap, and his experiments are nonsense. They have nothing to do with reality. He says look, I'm making the photons move. No, you're not. Look, I'm redshifting the light. No, you're not. I mean, you're just such an asshole to try to destroy Ken's work. There's no work involved. There's no work. There's just a bunch of lies. He keeps saying he's going to do something. He gets these pyramid magnets. He's pointing out how they have all this power and strength, and he's demonstrated nothing. I mean, it's pretty simple. Take a bar magnet that weighs the same amount and has the same end number, and take your pyramid magnet and show how it has more magnetism by sticking it on something. Has he done that? No. Since he's not in your club, so you have to make propaganda to discredit him. No, he's obviously the one with the propaganda, the deceptions, the lies, and they're overt lies when he talks about the ferrocell, just because I'm saying he knows how the damn thing works. So he knows this isn't just showing any magnetic fields, not showing them as they are. It's giving you a distortion of them, just like putting a magnet in front of a cart. Oh, he's such an idiot, these people. Oh, I can't turn it off. Yeah. Well, I can't delete it. It's a video. I do delete it in the video. So, come on, move along. Next comment, please. Come on. VLC is usually pretty good, but it's not. Come on. It's not giving me a new image here. Yeah, it wiped out the other one. Well, anyway, here it is. Now that it's how is it that cosmic phenomenon are mimicking the theoretical explanation? See cosmic jets, pulsar geometry, etc. So again, more of this. It looks like it is like, no, it's not how reality works, and they don't look that much alike. So just don't pretend that there's any true similarity. Plasmas aren't. They're just gas. You know, they're matter ejected off of the anode and sent to the cathode, right? Anode, cathode, and so it's a blob of gas. So, oh yeah, it looks interesting, but it's not interesting. You know, light is traveling through nothing when every other observable phenomena travels through some medium. No, only on Earth we're in a medium. Okay, we're the ones underwater, so to speak, and so we think everything's underwater. No, if I throw a wrench into space, what's the medium, asshole? How is the medium making the wrench move? Oh, this is so stupid. The ether seems to exist. Seems to who? Seems to you. I don't see any evidence for it. What fucking use does this ether have? I mean, it's just such an obvious question. I mean, if I make the ether out of dominoes, I make it out of jellyfish, it doesn't matter. They all have to move in some way. They all have to transmit this change. Change has to go from here, it has to go to here, some kind of change. Well, if I'm gonna make change, why don't I just throw the whole dollar? I mean, why would I bother with the change, little pieces of change, when I can just throw the thing across and say, there's change. If I'm going to be making movement, why don't I just make something move all the way? Why would I bother with the fucking medium? It doesn't accomplish anything. Anyway, ether seems to exist and was even accepted as fact prior to Einstein. Again, it's the fact that people believe in God doesn't mean that God exists, jackass. Fuck. However, we still lack the ability to test its attributes. Well, it's not. You're talking as if it has an attribute. What would its attribute be? Oh, it is thus possible that the ether is a medium for light and energy. It's possible, but what's the point in it? How does it make? How are you simplifying? How are you finding the more elemental cause? You're just creating something else that you have to make out of something, you shithead. You're not fixing the creation problem at all. It doesn't answer any questions. It's just superfluous to the function. So why bother with it? The size of the electron was first calculated by a man that worked on the basis of the ether. So again, who cares? Maxwell believed in ether. Who cares? Newton believed in angels. Who cares? It doesn't have anything to do with the science. He certainly didn't sit there and assert it as a fact. Jackass. It is thus possible that the ether is the medium, the size of the electron. So again, you'd have to even prove that. The size of the electron can only be determined because you have other variables that make it possible. You have to have experimental data, so that's just a lie. And I don't know even what you mean by size of the electron was first calculated, frankly, because they don't attribute a size to an electron, you jackass. They assign a mass to it, idiot. His name is Harold Aspin, Epistedin. His math calculated it correctly to the 5th decimal place. Well, who cares? Correctly based on what standard? Who the fuck knows how big an electron is now? Where's your definition of the empirical truth establishing how big an electron is, you idiot? Oh. How then can you simply dismiss ether theory totally out of hand? Because there's no evidence for it, shithead, and it doesn't logically make any sense. No evidence and logical stupidity, uselessness. It's completely superfluous to function. It doesn't answer any questions. It doesn't solve any problems. It's absolutely useless. Science is about questioning everything. No, it isn't. It's about answering questions based on compiling evidence. That's what it is. It's about collecting facts and facts point, including settled science. So again, this isn't an argument about what settled science is. This is an argument about what there's evidence to believe. And there's no evidence for either. All settled science is then becomes a cult of belief based on the same thing that were proven in the lab. So again, you didn't prove anything, you don't have any evidence of anything, you just have a fairy story that you want to believe for some dopey reason I can't possibly understand. So to me, it's nothing more than a God theory. You're just saying, prove the non-existence of my God. No, I'm not going to waste my time doing that. Why don't you prove the existence of your fucking God? Try to disprove your own beliefs before settling someone else's straight. Why don't you do the same thing, fucking cunt? Why don't you prove that you have a fucking ether before you oblige me to believe in it, you dumbass? Therein lie true wisdom. Well, therein lie true honesty. Why don't you fucking do what you're saying I'm supposed to do, jackass, which is to defend your fucking idiotic claim with something called a piece of fucking goddamn evidence. Oh, come on. Come on, video. What the fuck? I can't get the image of the video to change. I don't know if he had another comment or not. I'm going to go back a little and see. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't know why this is taking so fucking long. Alright, so that's just the cosmic phenomenon thing. So I guess that was the last one. Alright, I remember seeing on television when this was broadcast live at the time, and I thought this guy, I already did this, didn't I? I think I already did this, yeah. Bobo doesn't know the difference between ions and isotopes. I clearly do, and yeah, I made a typo in a conversation, okay? So every time I can catch somebody else on saying photon when they meant electron or making some mistake. And then I did make the counterpoint where, yes, sometimes I don't pay any attention to the difference between an isotope and an ion because, frankly, that's all that's happening. If you have an isotope, you're basically doing the same thing that an ion does, which is you're changing the electrical balance of the fucking atom. And that's all that really interests me, is the fact that you're changing the balance between the electrons and the protons. And obviously, isotopes are a lot harder to correct for that. You can't just inject a new proton. So obviously, that's a big difference. But I'm just saying, it's not like I don't know there's a difference. I'm just saying, from my point of view, the only important thing is what's the charge balance difference. What's the effect? And the effect is very similar to creating ions. Yet Bobo thinks he has solved the mysteries of the universe from his basement. Well, Bobo has evidence, okay, and a big pile of it that none of you people seem capable of making a rational argument beyond going Bobo. So beyond playing with silly names, to insult people by, calling them a silly name, where's your argument? Oh, that's right, you don't have an argument. You can't refute a single thing. You can't quote what I say and in any way make a rational argument about how it's fundamentally wrong or in any way significant. So again, you've brought up a mistake I made up regarding ions and isotopes, but was the mistake in any way critical to understanding the basic concept, which is the change in the character of the atom? No. So is it meaningful? No. So again, you're just proving my point. You can't seem to make an argument relevant to any of these subjects. Bobo has personality of a cactus. Well, again, messenger, who cares, right? Message is the only thing that's important to a rational person. I don't give a shit about the personality of people I make response videos to. I don't care how hostile or how this or how that or how it doesn't make any difference. If I'm arguing what they're saying, then who cares? I don't need to give a shit about their personality. To talk to him, so he sits there all by his lonesome yelling at his computer. Well, no, I'm yelling at assholes on my computer. Jackasses, anonymous cowards, gutless, dickless cowards who can't man up, make a real video, can't make a real argument, and you're an obvious one of these people who, if you make a video, what'll it be? You'll quote mine my video and turn it upside down or distort something. And it's nothing more than an ad hominem attack. You can't sit there and make any attack besides a personal one. You can't make one that's actually on the subject. all by yelling, and then digs up 2-year-old videos begging people to talk to him. No, I'm just begging people to have a little bit of integrity. Piro's talking as if he's defended physics appropriately. He's made his argument. He's proven the case. He hasn't done any such thing. He's lost the argument, and he's just a lying coward. I mean, it's a pathetic coward, afraid of the argument. So there's no other point to make. He's an awful liar. He provides fake evidence. And he's too much of a coward to back up any of the crap he says. So there's nothing else to say. He's a despicable human being, a coward. Plain and simple. All right, then I went to the spam folder. There it is. Let's see, we need the read more thing. Come on. There we go. Do you know that there's a simple test for jamming theory that doesn't require expensive equipment and which can be done with 2 pieces of hardware that you can buy for around $3 or $20, right? So somehow he can prove it's not jamming with this nonsense experiment, right? So, and nobody else has thought of this great way to get around jamming or to prevent jamming. So you know what the military has this little special $20 kit that makes it possible for them not to have their signals jammed by nefarious characters in wartime. Oh, I don't think so. I have not bothered because I don't need to do the experiment to know the results. So that's a perfect statement, right? I don't need to bother doing experiments to know results. So that's apparently the science of today is, no, don't bother doing experiments. Think about it and just make conclusions. And that way you don't have to prove anything. You can believe whatever the fuck you want. And that's all he's saying. You're afraid of experiments, shithead. In the same way, I don't need to try to fly an airplane made of Lego blocks to know that it won't fly. Well, again, did you ever prove that a Lego plane can't fly? I don't see. There's probably no reason why they can't. That you've proven. Some theories are so terminally idiotic, so rife with internal contradictions in the direct violation of everyday observations. And again, jamming violates what? Where's the everyday observation that demonstrates that you can tune into radio stations that are out of phase? Where's the evidence that you can do that? I gotta fix this. Whatever. It just really doesn't matter that I'm in the video, but if I'm going to bother having me in the video, I should have me in the video live. So again, so there's just no evidence of anything here. He can't link to a piece of evidence. That's too much trouble. So he has some theory that disproves jamming, yet he doesn't have any links to it. There's nothing. Your magnetism video is a hoot because it takes 30 seconds with an ordinary fridge magnet to establish the idiocy of your proposition. An insane statement on its face. I mean, obviously my description of magnetism completely fits all the experimental data, all of Maxwell's equations. It perfectly fits what exactly magnets do. So in no way is this true. So again, just more lies, more veiled statement. Oh, I have proof. I have it hidden in my closet. I mean, the coward all over the place. No, I will not clue you in because I enjoy watching you flounder. Well, I'm not the one floundering. You're quite obviously floundering to produce a little bit of evidence. I give you a simple challenge. I write some simple statements down about what the truth is, and I defy you to demonstrate one piece of evidence indicating these things aren't the truth. So I give you the challenge, and this is how you man up? No, this is how you chicken out. Bok, 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 bok. All right. Who will it be? The asshole, sulfuric wind, whatever. Some more name calling. You can't do any better than this. Oh yeah, I have great arguments, except I'm not going to bother using any of them. Oh right, sure you do. Let's see. Who solved the 30 earlier in 24 hours? Yeah, well, the oinker, I hardly did anything to support Robert Ritchie's claims that he was going to solve the 2-slit experiment, because quite obviously he didn't. But where do I have to take responsibility for that? Clearly I wasn't the one saying he's right. Clearly. Come on, image. Come on, damn it. I can't read the beginning here. Shit. Why is this not working better than this? Alright, so we did that. Alright, I'll just keep watching and keep Popcorn Machine plugged in. We all know that when it comes to experiment which doesn't conform to your predictions, you will just blame them for being incompetent and not doing the experiment correctly. Well, again, to just quote the point I made that's incorrect. I mean, yeah, it is a little bit sophisticated, okay? Yeah, there's a certain truths to what happens when two signals overlap, and they overlap a little bit at a time kind of thing. And that those broken frequencies are in fact broken frequencies, and radios can't pick them up either. You can't turn the signal on and off, on and off, on and off, and be able to receive it either. I mean, on and off with another signal built in. So there are certain rules. I didn't make up the physical rules. The physical rules exist, and when you do an experiment, you sort of have to account for the physical reality. Wow. Oh, that's asking way too much. And you will never admit that your theory is a piece of junk. Well, obviously, because it isn't a piece of junk. It matches all the evidence, and the evidence that it does work is the very fact that you cannot provide me a single fucking link to a single piece of evidence indicating how I'm wrong. Not one single piece of evidence. Okay, he says, P.S. I'm not a Tesla fan or defender of mainstream. So, yeah, so what is your wacky theory then? So if you're not Tesla and you're not the conventional theory, what's your wacky theory, asshole? What do you think gravity is? What do you think magnetism is? Let's hear your wacky theory, fucking idiot. You still have not figured that out. Well, why? How would I figure it out? How would I know what the fuck you're about, you fucking idiot? You can't sit there and make rational arguments. You can't sit there and even account for who the fuck you are. You can't even be honest in labeling yourself, you fucking troll. When someone challenges you, didn't challenge anything, you fucking weak ass. You've provided nothing. Your response is mainstream does so-and-so. Yeah, my argument is with mainstream. Sorry, that's all I care about. I don't have to prove that Eric Dollard is a dud. Okay, I don't have to prove that Ken Wheeler's an idiot. That doesn't give me any. I don't get a big victory out of that. I'm just trying to spare assholes from being duped by a liar and a cheat. All right, that's all. I'm trying to spare the fucking listeners of Ken Wheeler the humiliation of being so overtly just a dupe in a religious argument. The only battle that I'm invested in is the battle with conventional physics and its fucking preposterous lies and its insanely weak evidence. Ron, jump ahead to more, please. Alright. I do find it amusing that your desperate attempt to attract viewers by taunting other YouTubers and including their channel name in the video titles hasn't worked. Well, yes, right, and somehow it's irrational to do that. So if somebody makes a response video to me, they shouldn't put DraftScience in the title, or they shouldn't put my name in the title. That would be irrational and silly and stupid. And it certainly wouldn't be a courtesy to me to actually label your video so I might be able to find it. No, amazing critique, right? That somehow I should post the videos without putting their name in the title. That would be somehow more rational and courteous. I don't think so. All right, and so this ignoring me thing, yeah, that's fine. And I'm saying, what, do you think Ken Wheeler is ignoring me because Ken Wheeler has what? What's your argument? As I recall, what all Ken Wheeler had was mocking. It was all he was capable of doing. Here's a guy, a fat, tattooed asshole with holes in his fucking extra holes in his fucking earlobes, mocking other people for being not standard, having long hair. I mean, what a joke. And you're defending that? Anyway, and now you're digging up 2-year-old videos from Pyro. Again, yes, clearly, and I pointed out how it's a 2-year-old video. I mean, there's I wasn't trying to fool anybody. I said, look, this is the only video I can find. This is the last video where Pyro said anything about physics. So fuck you. What a loser you are. The Frank Grimes of YouTube. I don't even know what the fuck that is. So why would I even care? Oh yeah, I don't care. There's a Jewish saying, if one man calls you an ass, ignore him. If 10 men call you an ass, get the saddle. Yeah, there's lots of old, dumb, fucking retarded Jewish sayings. Like, if you find a dead bird on the sidewalk, give it to a fucking homeless man. Yeah, poison him instead of you. Yeah, fuck Jews. Okay, fuck old Jewish sayings. Fuck religious kooks in general. So, fuck you in general. And specifically. Oh, I can't delete it. Again, I can't delete it. All right, so then his last comment. Bobo is not only incompetent in math and physics. Again, I don't have to be competent in math because I'm not disagreeing with the math, asshole. He is also inept at using Google. A simple Google search reveals experiments performed to detect electrons passing through slits. Where? No, there's no such experiment. So again, more lies. What did they detect the electrons? They detected which slit the electron went through with what kind of detector, asshole? What kind of magical detector can you detect the electron going by with? What? Yeah, that's right. It doesn't exist. So again, just a lie. Ironic, then, that it is Bobo himself, not the physicist, who is lying. So again, there's no lie here. A simple Google search reveals what? Performed to detect electrons. What Google search? Why don't you give me the words? Give me the title of the search that has the evidence of the electron detection experiment. Why don't you show me? So instead of posting the link or posting the exact the text that you get this evidence by typing in, he doesn't provide either one. So just more bullshit, just more lies. Is it that hard for you to post me a link to the experiment where they detected which slit the electron went through? Go ahead, show me. You fucking liar. Where they had the detector inside of the evacuated electron tube, detecting electrons with the magical what? What did they use to detect the electrons, right? You shot photons at the electron? Oh, you can't do that because photons make electrons move, idiot. God, you're so fucking stupid. Alright, so I think that should be it for comments. It appears so. So then I think I moved on to Puro. I believe. Yeah, I must have. Okay, good. So we'll do that. Whoa, get rid of some of this crap. Yeah, get rid of that. Alright, and now I can go back to here. And I should be able to open this one. This is fake evidence from Puro. Okay, so I will link you to this video where it shows where Puro provided the fake evidence. That is, so you have a simple task, right? You're gonna observe wave function in water. So in the two-slit experiment, you put the waves in nice and slow. You go through the two slits, interfere with each other. Then they take the single slit, and you can see it just from that pattern. Look at the way that straight line's going way up. So they put a ton of pressure in. So they increase the frequency of the waves, 20 times. Create a whole bunch of interference. So you can see that the waves that were going in nice and flat are now you can see a bunch of ripples in them. And then you can see that when it goes through the slit, it's already breaking into multiple waves because it's more noise going in. So they're basically just they're just trying to force the effect. And now the effect isn't very dramatic, but clearly there is diffraction because they're sending it through with much higher pressure. And so yeah, it doesn't behave normally at all. But obviously everybody who's a little bit rational knows that if you put nice regular waves in, you'll get a nice wave pattern out. And no real physicist will dispute that fact. But Puro's trying to pretend that no, single slits create diffraction, he calls it. That they create wave interference. That somehow the waves interfere with themselves. When no, that doesn't happen unless you put interference in, then you get interference out. So it's just clearly violating the fundamental rule of doing experiments, whereas you don't do one experiment on top of the mountain and then do the control experiment in the bottom of the valley. You don't do one experiment above water and do the other experiment underwater. You don't change the circumstances when you're trying to isolate one variable. And so it's a clear violation of logic. So anyway, I made a video explaining how his evidence is fake. He's just a fraud, a liar, okay, clearly. And now he's defending that. He's still defending this as good evidence when it's just clearly violates every rule of good evidence. It's not the scientific method. It's not fair. It's not reasonable. It will not create the any kind of result that has integrity. It's just a way of cheating. And that's it. It's cheating. There's no other word for it. He's just a fucking cheater. A liar and a cheater. So there's
No,
two
I'm a
places.
liar. Okay. Yeah, and you know what? He'll still say, you never showed me. And since that has become famous in his own...
So I'll say you never showed me evidence. That's right. You showed me a lie. You showed me deceptive. You showed me Ken Wheeler-style evidence, okay? Something that's complete distortion of the reality. You pressed a plastic bottle against the wall and made a dimple in the plastic, and then said the magnet did it, which is absolute nonsense, right? It's just a faked experiment, okay? It really doesn't have anything to do with finding the truth. It clearly has nothing to do with comparing single slits with double slits and then comparing that evidence to what photons do. And again, it clearly just ignores, again, the multiple slits, which obviously create patterns at the different locations that are images of what went through the diffraction gradient. So clearly, the idea that these are just images is being proven by the multi-slit experiment. And you have no explanation for that. You are clearly quote mining the evidence, clearly, just overtly quote mining the evidence. You just say any evidence that indicates he might be guilty, we keep. All the evidence that shows he's innocent, we'll throw in the garbage and pretend it doesn't exist. And then we'll lie about it. We'll say that the evidence that does prove him innocent, I'll make it look like it's his fingerprint. Okay, I'll fucking bend I'll take the magnifying glass and I'll distort it so it makes the image look different. I mean, it's just that overt a lie. Let's see. Yeah, this is probably close enough to the... Well, let me go back just a hair just so we don't miss... Might have been something more to this idiotic statement.
I did not do that. And you refer to Gary, too, like, he wants you to answer. I answer all the specifics. You guys don't...
No, okay, so he hasn't answered anything. So again, I brought up a ton of points. They're all itemized, listed. The subject videos are right there. Magnetism, gravity, they're all points. The points I bring up about gravitational lensing, the poor quality of the evidence. He hasn't answered any of these questions. Not a single one of them.
Take the answers and then pretend they don't happen. Gary says there's no water diffraction.
Yeah, there's no water diffraction in the single slit done under the same circumstances you do the double slit experiment. So do the double slit experiment under the same circumstances that you showed that single slit experiment, and guess what? You'll break the double slit pattern, and the double slit won't match the photons anymore. All right, put noise in and get noise out. You'll break the pattern, you'll get a different pattern, and now your evidence won't be evidence anymore. You can't figure that out. You're just so dishonest. If you treated your positive evidence as poorly as you treated this negative evidence, okay, you wouldn't have any positive evidence.
Well, somebody show me. So I show them a video of diffraction in water.
Again, and it's not under the same circumstance, violates the fundamental rules of doing a scientific experiment, whereas you don't do one on top of a mountain and the other one under the water. I mean, clear violation.
Now I'm a liar.
Yeah, yes, it's clearly when you're propagandizing and distorting the evidence, that's lying, yes. A clear distortion, a clearly not under the same conditions. It's clearly not under the same conditions.
Okay, yeah, and you know what? He'll still say, you never showed me. And since that...
So that, again, another lie. I have videos pointing it out. Go ahead, present it again as evidence. Go ahead, show it again and try to argue and defend the integrity of that as garbage, as evidence. Because I'll just point out again how it violates anyone who knows anything about the scientific method will be able to see just what a liar you are. Because you don't give a shit about the scientific method. You don't care. You just want to cheat. You want, like Ken Wheeler, you want to present a lie as the truth. So you want to make it look like when it isn't like. You're forcing it to look like. And that's what it was a perfect example of. You're forcing it to look like for the purpose of your propaganda. You are rigging the evidence, cheating the evidence, defrauding the evidence to lie to the jury. You're just a despicable liar and cheater.
That has become famous in his own lore. He'll just repeat that the movie was a lie.
Yeah, the movie was not attempting to represent the truth. It was quite obviously trying to force something. Okay, quite obviously. And that's not illegitimate in the sense. I mean, it's okay for scientists to say, well, how much can we fuck this up? Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for an engineer to see how fast he can rev up an engine until it blows up, just to see, well, when does it blow up? That's worth figuring out. But for you to present that as if that's evidence of what single slits do under the same normal conditions, it's not what single slits do under normal conditions. It's what single slits do under abnormal conditions.
I mean, there's a million things like that.
Yes, everything you talk about, you contrive with a bunch of lies. You lie about what parameciums do. You lie about everything. You're just such a despicable fucking liar.
Now, on the compliments thing...
well, that's a waste of time. So we'll jump ahead to the other pile of crap. It seems like it was earlier. 40, yeah, I can't read 43, not 48. Thank you, YouTube. Come on. I hate YouTube. Hate it, hate it, hate it. Shit.
Water. Now I'm a liar.
Yes,
okay.
you're
and you know what?
a
You'll still say you never
despicable
showed me.
belligerent.
You're
a belligerent liar. You just keep doing it over and over.
You should rush down to your local biology departments in all the schools and universities and tell them that they can't tell that a soap bubble isn't alive, because I think we would all disagree with you in that case. And then you're out in the...
I don't know why they would disagree, but whatever. I mean, clearly Hothday's just making the point that what you're doing, though, is you're giving a bunch of properties to things that don't have them, okay? It has no neural network. It has no capacity to think. A paramecium is more like a soap bubble than it is like a human being. That's just a fact. It's 10 times... I mean, it's just so obvious. It's just a frickin'... it's just based on the crudest of physics that decide which way it turns. It only has one kind of maneuver. It goes up, down, left, right, and it always does the same exact thing. It's just a knee jerk, and that's all it has. It has nothing more. It has no fucking consciousness. It's just such a lie to pretend that consciousness is something that exists in parameciums. It's just lying.
In the cold with the crazy idea that no one would agree. You say consciousness is an illusion. So why would you even... But you're also... It's silly to say that anything besides humans or a certain subset of living things is conscious. But it's also silly to say that they're conscious. That's basically your position so far.
Yeah, he's arguing with Hotday, but obviously Hothday's an idiot. I mean, obviously he's duplicitous in his own horse shit of pretending I'll just pretend consciousness doesn't exist unless I want it to.
Fair or no? You criticize the fact that I was using artistic examples. Well, here's the thing. What if your ideas are just merely art, right? You'd probably think that's an insult, but, you know, I love art. Gary's system ignored clear facts from the start. It does. Okay,
big lie, right? There's no facts. Please show me these fucking facts. How much goddamn fucking trouble it is to show me your fucking facts. It seems like every fact you showed me, I've pointed out how it's not a fact. How I pointed out how the experiments were never done, that your fucking wave experiment, it doesn't match it doesn't match what photons do at all. There's no similarity. Even in the two-slit experiment, the similarity is very vague and loose in the sense that it's just an on-off pattern, the simplest pattern in the universe, as I pointed out. And clearly in water waves, it's turning on and off. Okay, it's just not sitting there saying on and off in different locations. No, there's an on-off and then a neutral. Very different. In water waves, it seems like the photon is AC, and in photons, it seems very DC. So again, it doesn't even match. What evidence? You don't have any fucking evidence, you liar.
as in you share that with them. You also ignore clear facts.
What clear facts? Again, there's clear facts. There's no clear fact being ignored. There's no clear facts for your whole fucking bullshit. You don't have a fucking single fact defending your relativity theory. There's no experiment you've actually done. None. All that's been demonstrated is there's a correlation between speed and time dilation, and I've explained why that correlation exists. So that's all you've got. That doesn't prove Einstein's right about anything else. The Eddington experiment is absolute crap. You've never proved that photons are twice as bent by gravity than any other object in the universe. You've not demonstrated any of this shit with evidence. You're just a liar. You keep pretending you have evidence. There's no evidence. Nothing. Show me. Link me to your fucking evidence. Please, let me see your fucking evidence.
And there is definitely a limited amount of explanation that I want to do on something so well described.
So again, well described just means well propagandized. We've settled the issue by lying and lying and lying and lying. So it's just like the Pope saying, I don't have to explain God, his love is obvious. I don't have to explain how this makes any sense. I don't have to explain evidence. Love is obvious. There, I'm done. This is just pussy bullshit. Oh yeah, we've already proven it. Oh, with our non-existent evidence. When you go look for the evidence doesn't exist. So you've been building all of this crap, this fake facade that you predicted something, this fake that you have a whole bunch of evidence that supports this wave theory when you don't have a whole bunch of evidence. The whole fake, again, all the lensing data that mathematically doesn't make any sense. And now you've invented this dark matter to try to fix it with your fake, more fakery. I mean, it's so dishonest and so corrupt. Absolute garbage. For what? To defend being lying propagandists. And that's all you fucking are. You have no fucking love for the truth. You have no integrity. You have no fucking... you have nothing. You're not men. You're fucking goddamn weaselly little manipulative sissies who have to sit there and cheat. You constantly fucking cheat. And then you overtly lie that somehow you've made the great argument. Where's your great argument? Link me to your fucking great argument, you fucking liar. Show me your explanation of how your bent space works. Show me the explanation for how your virtual photon does magnetism. Show me the video explaining how it works. Show me where interference goes through the interferometer. So go ahead, show me. Draw me a simple picture. Where does a single photon go into the interferometer? Does the single photon take both paths and then get recombined? Or two different photons go in and they take different paths and then they bang into each other some magical way? Why don't you show me with the radar experiment how the two guns, the photons, somehow create this interference? Why don't you explain how it happens with no Huygens and no wave function and no collapse function? There's none of that shit happening. So how the fuck does interference happen? Why don't you explain one of these things, you fucking lying piece of shit? Your theory is fucking, it contradicts itself all over the goddamn place. It has no continuity. 1 minute it's a single photon interfering with itself. The next minute it's 10 million photons interfering with each other. It's all just bullshit. And then you lie about the bullshit. Oh, we've proven it. We've well established by our big pile of non-existent evidence. Evidence so bad that even Eddington, the guy... Einstein right, New York Times headline. And does the New York Times post... Well, actually, Eddington said in his journal that he wouldn't stake his life on these bullshit results because his data is so fucking bad. 10% of what he was expecting. So, 10% of the quality of the evidence. 10%. It's like having a telescope that told me, oh, it's 10% as good as it should have been. And you're going to make predictions. You're going to tell people what's far away. Yeah, fuck you, liars.
So well described to the point that you can go take physics classes.
All right, so amazing. I've played the physics classes. I've played them overtly cheating the experiment. Again, putting the audio signal on the radar for no good reason, right? Why don't they just detect the radar signal? Why don't they prove that it's the radar and not some other gimmick? Why are they using these gimmicks to do their experiments? I've shown the gimmicks in the experiments. So again, more horseshit. I've shown people doing this bending the electron thing, and I've pointed out the gimmick. All right, it's always a gimmick.
And do most of these things. You're adults. So you could go to a university and do everything. I mean, play with lasers, all of it. get out.
So again, more just horseshit that I have to redo the experiments. No, the experiments are right there to be seen, and the flaws in them are right there to be observed. I've already pointed out the observed flaws in them. You have a pattern that has two patterns. Okay, in the double slit experiment, when done correctly, there's two patterns. You have no theory for what that other pattern is because water waves don't do it. What's your theory? Where's the other pattern coming from? And yet you're not curious at all. You just sit there and say, well, we don't care. We're only going to pay attention to the evidence that supports our theory. We're not going to pay any attention to anything that might indicate we have the wrong answer. Quite clearly, that's your objective. You're clearly bigoted. You clearly have a bias. You clearly don't give a fuck about the truth. And then you sit there and overtly, with these outrageous lies, that you've proven something, that somehow you've met the burden of proof, that you can convict this person and put them in the electric chair based on this garbage evidence. And it's absolute garbage.
Access to a real lab. Learn some real math.
Again, it's not my theory that's in dispute with the math. It's your theory that doesn't fit your math, okay? Your math doesn't fit your experiment. You have to change the variables. When you go from one slit to two slits, you change the actual, what the variable stands for. 1 minute it stands for a brick wall. The next minute it stands for an opening. I mean, complete bullshit. And the only way that could possibly work is based on my theory, which is, well, whether it's an opening or whether it's an impediment, you still end up with two surfaces. So if you called it the surface experiment, well then the math can change the variable because the surfaces will be exactly the same in both circumstances. You haven't changed the surfaces, you just changed where they are. Okay, the same two surfaces exist, you just changed their location. So from my theory, that's explainable. Your theory, not explainable. I mean, I got you all over the place, and you have responded with absolutely nothing but this promise of I have evidence. You have nothing
about it in Gary's case, and have some equipment. So I mean, definitely.
Yeah, and I did the experiment on my porch, okay, the interferometer. I did it with the dirty piece of glass, got exactly the same pattern that you get with the interferometer, exactly the same rings, the center blinks on and off, all of that crap with absolutely no two paths for the photons to have to travel. Just one path does all the work, all right, demonstrating there's nothing magical about this pattern. Just more lies on your part. Well, it can only be created by interference. No, obviously it can be created by internal reflections in a piece of dirty glass.
A local college, what we call junior college over here, would have a lab good enough, with good enough lasers, enough mirrors, enough space to disprove many of Gary's
again, just more nonsense that he somehow has the proof experiment somewhere. He obviously doesn't have any proof experiments. So go ahead, do all the experiments you want. I love experiments. More experiments, the better. I'm not the one afraid of them. It seems that your fucking people are the ones afraid of them. They're afraid to do an experiment, okay, that they haven't pre-rigged to show a certain result.
Predictions about light. But also, engineering is an art. Okay, engineering is an art.
Oh, that's just bad baby talk. Obviously, engineering isn't an art. It's just it's so clinical. It's so procedural. It's so demanding that you obey these certain rules. And if you disobey the rules, the clock won't work, the car won't work. It's all rule-based, where art, you're allowed to bend and flex the rules with your creativity to mess up the cake ingredients, because it doesn't matter. No one's going to live and die because you make a stinky art cake, and people will live and die when you make a bad airplane. So what a pile of crap. But everything he says is crap. Fucking lying piece of shit. I mean, just to re-lie about that crappy piece of evidence he provided for single slit diffraction. It just doesn't exist. I played the Professor Lewin clip, the MIT professor, pointing out how you can't call these things two different things. It's interference pattern, it's interference pattern. There's no diffraction in the single slit and then some other kind of thing in the double slit. It's the same fucking thing, okay? It's just a lie to call it something else and to pretend it is something else. Just absolute baby talk nonsense. The effects are the same and the cause of the effect is the same. Oh, this despicable liars. But anyway, that's it. That's all you can do is point out they're just grotesque liars. They have no integrity. If they would make a physics video, I'll pick it to pieces. But they won't come up with a challenge. They won't. They won't actually assert some kind of truth. Hofladay makes no videos asserting anything as a truth. He just asserts that I can't weigh evidence. I can't figure out what's weakly evidence and what's strong evidence. I can't tell the difference. He's so dishonest. Ugh, disgusting. Both of them stupid pieces of propagandizing garbage.